So here we have the backpack to the 2001 Space Odyssey Clavius suit. Um, this is also printed with PLA at the same settings as before for the helmet and for the chest box. Only difference being for this, the infill was at 15%, where the helmet, I believe, was at 20%. And the ring was like at 75% for strength. So this was built trying to get as light as possible because it is quite large. It's over 400 millimeters in height. So this dimension from here to the corner, this was, if you look at the pictures on the Instructables website, this pretty much ran the whole entire height of my Creality CR10 printer, and it was seamed right along this seam so that I could this seam, so that I could hide the seam underneath this piece of black plexiglass. The top piece, this top piece then was also made and seamed right about here. If you look close, you can see a little imperfection in the paint right there where I had a little bit of warpage issues and tried to get that smoothed out, but good enough for a prop. This was all modeled off of the actual movie prop that was auctioned off a couple of years ago, off of some reference photos. The decals and the painting on the decals on the individual parts was replicated as well. The names for the decals, like up and RMS, was followed as well. Wherever there was language like this, they actually used the decal sheets that were available in the 60s, where it actually was the address of the decal company where they bought these rub-on sheets. So instead of trying to make that accurate, I just put some real language in here to make it actually look like it was something that belonged. Like, for example, it says here, warning, follow proper procedures for evacuating system prior to priming. Ensure all connections are connected in proper sequence to prevent gas lock. So I just made that up, to make it, if anybody wants to look at it and see what was done there, then they could see that. Sorry for the bad camera work here, but it is quite large item here. Again, same decal as on the helmet, and the back here has the same quarter 20 inserts, same hardware that was cut out of a 2-inch piece of aluminum, and the belting was carefully sewn on a sewing machine so that you don't break the needle, and just basically going into a X pattern to hold that on there. Seems to be okay. Seems to work out okay. Printed a back cover on it. Got overly zealous in thinking that it needed a whole bunch of fasteners. It really doesn't, so I never use these holes. And then I have a push-on, push-off button right here on the top that actually is turning on an Arduino that is controlling these lights here. And I used an Arduino because there's 5 LEDs in each one of these rows that to give it the effect that I wanted to give. So the battery charging up, I wanted to show that it was progressive. So there's 5, 10, 15, there's 20 LEDs. All of the LEDs are run through a 220 ohm resistor, and so I used 20 outputs, and I had the Arduino available, so I just used that. So it just gives it some more interest and makes it a little bit more real. So let's take a look inside.